To fakes.
to fakes.
Fakes.
All right. Welcome to Fakes. This is a conversation about labels, some of those that fit and some of those that don't.
Yep.
My name is Charlie, and one of my fake labels is Fake Podcaster, so enjoy all the audio, video cues, the issues. Enjoy the fact that we don't have permission to film here.
Love it.
I'm so happy to be joined by my dear friend Pasha.
Hello.
And thinking of labels, Fake Gamer came to mind.
Fake gamer. I find when I think about what a gamer is, I don't think of myself. I mean, I think I have started to think of myself a little bit more because of the gaming community that we're a part of. But outside of that, I feel like in my head, a gamer is someone who is playing video games every single day and who's grinding in these games where you're like, you know, the ones that punish you for not playing after a few days.
Punishment, that's a good word.
Yes.
Yeah, and grind is sadly a word associated with gaming. You wrote a really beautiful article, maybe a year ago now,
yes.
For our company blog, kind of balancing the fact that you're a gamer with the other things that you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it was far better than the audience deserved in the article.
I appreciate it. I mean, it's a platform that it's all we've got.
Yeah.
So I find that it ends up just being what I use. And I do feel like a lot of my life I have felt like I wasn't the person who games were for. Mm-hmm. And so I thereby was a fake gamer and have been and continue to be and still feel that I am to this day, even now.
Gotcha. Games have been a part of my life for as long as I've had like a choice on what I could do. Mm-hmm. So probably like 6 or 7, I think, was the Nintendo age. So you mentioned when you think of games, you think of grinding, punishment, and you don't like consider that a label for yourself. What else does gamer mean to you?
I mean, when I hear the word, I honestly just picture people who speak almost a language in gaming that I don't understand. Like, I still don't really know what min-maxing is. There are a lot of acronyms. There are a lot of phrases and things that I don't know. So I always feel like I'm not included in that because I'm just like, I don't know what this means. And I'm sure that I'm doing it. I'm sure that min-maxing is, I mean, I looked up a couple times and I still don't think I know what it means. But
let me give it a shot. I love your mansplain. So when you can develop your stats or your abilities,
yes.
You put them all in an ability that you believe is going to be helpful for a certain way you play the game, and you put nothing in an attribute that won't help you in the game. So Fallout, you love the show.
Yes.
So min-maxing is a big part of that. So some people will put their charisma at 10, and they're lockpicking at 10, and then that gives them more opportunities to avoid fighting, so they might minimize those skills
fighting,
and try to
maximize
play their way.
Picking. Okay, that's really interesting. See, when you say that, now I'm just thinking of The Sims, because I'm like, when you pick your sim,
you have so many attributes.
You have so many attributes. You can give them charisma. You can give them, this or that. So, okay, that's really interesting. I don't really tend to play games that allow you to put all of your like tokens into a bucket. Mm-hmm. So like Fallout or they were talking about, I was listening to Baldur's Gate, yeah. Things where, you get to design and put in like your tokens into your different buckets. And I don't play those.
And that's funny because you're so excited when you see yourself represented in a game.
Yes.
At least like when Spiritfarer came out.
Oh, Spiritfarer. Yeah. And honestly, when I think about a game, I mean, it's changed so much, but when I think about something like Spiritfarer, I feel like that's a game that people would think is like a fake game. Like, it's not a real game. Like, when I hear gamer or gaming, traditionally, before I was reprogrammed in the gaming community, I thought like Call of Duty, Fortnite, Destiny 2, the games where you're hammering it hard, you're trying to get different drops, you're trying to get different things, so you have to play the same mission or whatever like 10 times to get a certain drop. Like, yeah. I mean, my husband used to play Destiny 2 and it was punishing. I mean, he would spend hours, and if he missed a day, it was just like, well, I gotta start over. Exactly. Yeah. So
for sure,
it's like, that is what I what I used to think of. And me playing The Sims, since I've been playing The Sims for like 12 years, I never thought of The Sims as a gamer's game. I thought of it as a girl game. And there's a whole body of research about girl games and The Sims. And I actually wrote an essay in my master's, like when I was getting my master's in one of my classes. It was like 20 pages, and it was an essay about The Sims. So we were asked to choose something that we were an expert in, and for me, the only thing in my life that I'm an expert in is The Sims, and not even anymore because I haven't played in a little while and things have changed. But so I was able to write about it, and there's so much interesting stuff about that. But it's a girls' game, and so that's always been a thing.
And maybe, I mean, we program kids with toys, I know, because I have a boy and a girl, and there's girl toys and boy toys, or girl aisles and boy aisles.
Yep.
And it's cool to see them subscribe to that, and it's cool to see them go against that.
Yeah.
And they're starting to pick up what boys do and what girls do a little bit more, and it's kind of disappointing that's not as free-flowing.
Interesting.
I was a Sims 1 player back when it was ugly.
Oh, yeah.
And
I love it when it was ugly.
Yeah.
It was all those polygons. It was great.
It was creating something where I could be in charge, and that's what I didn't have when I was playing it, like in high school.
Did you burn your Sims alive?
Yeah, I did all sorts of things, intentionally, unintentionally.
I think most of us did.
Then you sell the gravestone or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Here are the evidence.
Really throwing it back. I cannot remember like what it is now with ghosts. I feel like I never get to that point. And in my essay, I actually wrote about how now that the Sims are these beautiful, sleek, slick, 3D, gorgeous things, I don't want to kill them as much. But when they were really rudimentary,
there was a separation. You didn't feel the humanity in them.
Exactly. Exactly.
For sure.
They only were kid and adult, and the kids never grew to adult. Baby never grew. I think baby grew to kid, maybe. Maybe baby grew to kid, but like literally, it's just you're a kid forever. Yeah. Super weird.
And I think the games, aside from The Sims, the games that have a treadmill that you can run on, such as the Destiny or the Fortnite or whatever, they make the most money, so it gets the most attention with the gamer thing. And same with like arcades. When Mortal Kombat 2 was big, it was all like how many quarters those were pulling in, and that was all the news talked about when they talked about gaming. But there's like a totally underappreciated like subgenre of kids that grew up on like the Nickelodeon games.
Oh yeah.
We'll give that plane a second to come up.
For sure.
I told them no flights.
I know. No flight zone.
So yeah. So I guess he's landing. Give me a second. Oh man. Give me a second to pull this up. Taking advantage of that time while he's landing. All right. So you don't consider yourself a fake gamer anymore, but you still don't feel like identify with that.
I still don't fully identify with it, even though I'm like a part-time gamer. I'm like a fake gamer, like part-time, like because it just feels like gamer has such a specific demographic. It's like such a specific thing. And I'm still trying to find my space in it. And I'm still trying to feel at home in that term. And so, and I've always felt like I was a nerd, but a gamer feels like a little bit different. But really, truly, I've been a gamer since I was a kid. I mean, we had a PlayStation. That was my first. I've played other systems before that, but that was the first system my parents bought for us. And they had Tomba 2 running all night on Christmas morning, and I loved it. And so for me, like, I have found so much enjoyment in it. And actually, a couple weekends ago, I was playing Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker on GameCube, which you sold me, thank you. And I was getting ready to play, and I was like, wow, I feel so bad. And I said this out loud. I said, I feel so bad for people who don't know or have games, and gaming, because it's an escape, it's a relax, transports you to a new world. It's amazing. Like, for people who don't, that doesn't come naturally to people, I kind of feel bad. Like, what is their thing? You know what I mean? Because
everybody needs a thing.
You need a thing.
And everybody needs to feel like at home in that thing. And
yeah.
Like, you seem comfortable in your relationship to gaming, but that title. I don't like being called a gamer, but I guess
Yeah.
I am one.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, because people think of white men when they think of gamer, how do you feel hearing that? And when you were just saying you don't think of yourself as a gamer, tell me more about that.
I mean, it's what I do. I don't want it to be who I am. And I would like to think that most people that play video games are like that. I mean, kind of like the people that, I guess, ride motorcycles. Like, they don't want to. Some people,
I feel like
some want to people want to be a biker, and some people have a different healthy relationship with it, where they can ride a motorcycle and then they can
separate themselves from it,
not have to wear leather or whatever.
Right.
It is, and they don't have to have the latest Harley Davidson or whatever.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, it's a balance because I read more about gaming than I game, and that's a way because gaming is so vast and. Everybody has a very specific, well, most people have a very specific, like, understanding of gaming from actual experience because you can't play everything.
Yeah.
And I don't like getting too hardcore into one thing either because I just kind of have some ADD with gaming. I didn't, like, actually finish games until probably Xbox 360.
Oh, I feel like I still don't finish games.
Yeah.
The only game I finished recently was Breath of the Wild, and I congratulated myself because that was the only Zelda game I've ever finished.
Yeah. And I felt like I would buy them just for the sake of having them. And now I think I still buy them when they're on sale, but it's like I will actually finish a game.
Yeah.
And whereas in the past, maybe it's because they were harder and gaming was more of a specialized thing. So they made them harder.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just I'm more willing to commit and I'm sticking with it for story or whatever.
He got the 360. So another thing real quick is that all of the consoles were like his, you know what I mean? Like we had a PlayStation 1, a PlayStation 2, then we got a GameCube, and then we got a Wii. And at the point of the GameCube, that's when they were our systems. But when he had the PlayStation 1 and 2, they were his systems. So when he got Kingdom Hearts for PlayStation 2, it was his game.
Yeah.
And my job was to read the guide. We had a guidebook. So my job was to read the guidebook and point things out. And my dad would come in and make him share. He'd say, give the controller to her. Because I'd be watching for hours and I'd say, it's my turn. And he'd be like, no, it's not your turn. So I actually have a bit of PTSD when Nick and I are playing Wind Waker and he's like had the controller for like 30 minutes and like, this feels off. You need to give it to me now.
That's good. You're taking the power back. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much an only child. My sister is way older than me. So I didn't have a sharing thing. But yeah, even back then I was kind of flighty with games. Like I would play an hour and then I would go do something else or get bored. And I still am kind of like that. And now that I have my own kids, like I have my dedicated time after they go to sleep. And then that's my time. And I feel weird when I play games during daylight.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you playing right now in that time?
Fortnite, and I'm looking for my next game. I have every subscription service. So I have Game Pass, I have PlayStation Plus, the premium version. I have 1,000 Steam games. But yeah, I'm looking for my next big chunky game. And the past couple I've tried really haven't stuck with me, which always gives me that worry, is gaming not my thing anymore.
No.
I don't know if anyone's ever called you or your brother's ever called you something along the lines of a fake gamer. But how would that... if you hear it from someone else, would you fight back against that more than you would yourself?
I think my brother didn't call me a fake gamer in those terms, but his energy of not sharing the controller is like telling me, well, you're not a gamer, so this isn't for you, this is for me. You get to watch and commentate, which I did. I love to commentate. I love to like make up worlds, and as he's going, I mean specifically Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank. Those two games, I would just like talk like during. And I don't think I ever even played Jack and Daxter or Ratchet Clank because he never let me share the controller.
Was he better at sharing other things that might be less male coded?
In terms of games
or anything. Anything.
Well, so he's 18 months younger than me. So I think, I mean, we would play like board games sometimes, and or just like we would do other things. We'd make forts and stuff, and put tents in the woods and stuff behind our house. So I don't really have experience with him sharing or not sharing really anything other than the controls.
Gotcha.
And so I think I credit him really with why I'm a gamer today.
Yeah.
Because my parents were sort of like, he's a boy, get him a system.
Yeah.
And really they would say, well, we got the system for the both of you. And it's like, okay. Yeah. I mean,
just so you don't have to buy you something.
Yeah, exactly. He was playing it, and I'm sure it was expensive in 2000s money.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though it's so small, you look at a PlayStation, it's literally like a little silver box and 2 controllers, some cords, it's like nothing.
That CD player wasn't cheap.
I mean, no. But yeah, I mean, I think I do certainly credit him, but I will say, PC games were where I thrived because I didn't have to share. We each had our own computer, which was like so bougie of us. But we would each play our own computer games. And so for me, I learned about The Sims by my friend Jordan. It was at her house at a sleepover, and I was like, oh, I need this. And so my parents got me Sims, and I have amassed the entire Sims collection. There are a few games I didn't have because they're pretty similar, like if you've had one in Sims 2, you don't necessarily need it in Sims 3, kind of thing.
For sure.
And so that's where Sims really allowed me to break through because that was mine. You know what I mean? And like what did he play? He played Prince of Persia on the computer, Lara Croft, loved that. Actually, we both played Lara Croft. I actually have it on Steam. Okay. And it's amazing.
Like the original trilogy? Like
oh, yeah.
Okay.
But the way her braid moved so fluidly, that was one of the reasons I really loved that game. Like when the wind blew, it would move. And I just remember her running and shooting the guns. Yeah. And just, that and Sonic DX are like some comforting, even though Lara Croft is not comforting. Yeah. It's a comforting game. So
and I would have all the demo discs and I would play Tomb Raider and I'd be like, I could handle this, but I don't want to invest the time to deal with this like clunky movement or this.
It was a little clunky. I mean, the way that she would like step out and you have to like grab, you have to push a button while she's jumping so that she can grab the cliff.
But 20 years later, the new trilogy, they call it the Survivor trilogy, that's on current platforms or the previous gen. Like those I all played and beat. So I really enjoyed those because it finally brought it up to like, I wouldn't say they dumped it down, but they made it more accessible.
In what way, do you think?
Just like it's easier to play. It's not like fighting you. Like they know how 3D space works.
Yes.
And so they've smoothed the edges down where I can engage with it and have some of the Tomb Raider experience that I previously just had by reading reviews and stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And even now, like when we're all around the Switch or whatever at our area, like I'm more happy watching and maybe doing a little bit of commentating or just using that as the platform rather than playing.
Oh, yeah.
So
no, that's fair.
If you think back of our memories of the space, a lot of them I do not have a controller or playing.
You don't, and you're just sort of there enjoying and being part of the experience.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think it depends on the game for me. Like, Smash I'm not very good at, and Smash is kind of a game that the people play. They love, like, all of our...
It's a competitive sport.
It's a competitive sport. All the youngins, the youths, they love it, and they just, like, pour so much energy into it. Not so much tonight at game night, which was surprising.
Yeah.
And so for me, I tend to take a backseat to that because it's like, I'm not very good. Although I did play on Jason's team for one of the last times we were there. I forgot what we were doing. I played on his team, and I actually managed to win, and I felt really great about that. Which is, like, not saying much because he's amazing at it. Yeah. But, I find I don't really like that either. I tend to be more board game oriented when it comes to game nights because there's more of a community aspect and more of a, like, you're meeting people and you're talking to people. But if it depends on what the game is. Like, I'm much more of a single, like, first person exploration RPG. Like, that's what I prefer to do. Yeah. So the game nights don't really facilitate that well. But board games are great and I absolutely love them.
And I didn't get a ton of, like, I would go over to a friend's house, but it would be like just us two. I didn't get a bunch of, like, big sleepovers, like where we game. Yeah. So maybe it's kind of feeding that, or maybe it's reminding me when I was a youth group leader, kind of like just being able to experience other people's joy a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Or just feeding off that like a vampire or something.
No, I love that. I mean, at girl sleepovers, we didn't play video games. which is actually a huge bummer. I mean, we
What'd you do as someone who might have his daughter having a sleepover?
I know. Okay, so most of it was like there were some board games that were girl oriented.
Oh, for sure.
So I had a board game called Mall Madness.
I literally had that in my mind. I was going to say it, and I was like, no, let's see where she goes. Mall Madness, yes. I remember seeing the commercials. I didn't have it. I saw the commercials on Family Channel.
Literally, like, running around and trying to... I mean, they're literally teaching women to shop.
It's like Monopoly, except you spend money or something like that.
You spend money, and there's sales, and you're rushing to the sales, and it's literally... I wish I still had it. It's like a 2-floor situation. There's an escalator, and there's all these different shops. It's like Monopoly, and they're different shops. And we had that, and I actually quite loved it.
Let's make a new one, and it's just you got to outrun the H&M that's like taking over every store in the mall.
It was just talking about boys and crushes and stuff. It wasn't like...
That's the high school experience
If we could play video games, that would have been awesome.
But that often was the only way boys would like talk about stuff.
Oh, because they're playing
and
talking.
I remember, like, maybe my friend Steve, like, telling me his first, like, crush on a girl, like when we were watching Power Rangers, just because we didn't have to have direct focus on each other or something. It's
sort of like an in-between. It's like a medium or something that you can just, like, you don't have to look at each other, you can just look at it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
So you don't call yourself a gamer. You don't feel like you, not earn the title, but just the title doesn't fit you. If an outsider were to say, like, what is she doing there? She's not a gamer. Like, how does that make you feel?
Well, I think in some ways I've kind of earned it because, like, I sort of claim it a little bit more.
You're wearing a video game. I have no video game T-shirts, so.
I do. It's literally NPC, push X to talk. Yeah. So I wanted to wear this shirt because, one, I love it. We got these for our the open house at Steel Cave.
Oh, I didn't know you got specifically for that. I thought you just happened to have them.
No, we did. Oh my God, were you not in that meeting? You may have, like, you dressed as Ash.
I might have blocked
it. It was a different thing. You were dressed as Ash. It was a whole other separate. And I wear the Pikachu ears.
Yes.
But I have this shirt, and Zach and Will also have this shirt.
Oh, I did they have it beforehand?
No, we all got
separate.
It
oh, cute. Okay.
Yeah, to be because of Will's idea of the quest, and it's like, oh, I'm an NPC, I'm an non-player character, like, But yes, I feel like the gaming community has helped me feel like I have earned that title because, I mean, I literally wrote an essay in a master class, a graduate level class about The Sims. So, like, if I can do that, what else am I, right? Like,
well, I think that's what we're going to get into if we do more of these.
Yeah.
When we do more of these. So, earn the title. Is gamer or video game player, whatever, is that a title that needs to be earned?
That's a really good question. No, I don't think it is, but I think the way that people treat it, it's like you're not a real gamer if X, Y, and Z, which is like, I mean, honestly, to be totally candid, we know a guy named Jason. To me, he is like that. He is that thing. He knows a ton about, like, pretty much a big swath of gaming in general. He stays up. I mean, he literally told me he was up late last night, being on his friend's stream. Yeah. Like, when I think of gamer, I think of the streaming and the, the followers and the, like, all of that. All of that.
So when I was in high school, I was really protective of, like, gaming titles because that was, like, something I had. Did you ever see Booksmart, the movie? Mm-hmm. And so the two main girls were really smart and they were going to go to good colleges.
Really good movie.
That was their entire identity.
Yeah.
And then they got mad when they saw kids that also partied going to good schools or having a good career because, like, that was their thing and they were protective of it.
Yes.
And I just had a lamer thing, and that was being, like, a video game dork and, like, knowing Sonic the Hedgehog characters or something. And, like, I would get offended when people, or especially girls, would mention their boyfriend plays Madden. How dare he have a girlfriend and play video games? I don't really do either, but I'm super, like, confrontational and, like, gatekeeping.
Totally.
About it. And
I see. But here's a question.
Yeah.
I know that sports video games are games, but they feel so different because a sports, like, okay, if you only play sports games.
If you only play 2K, which a ton of people do.
Yeah. Do you have the same video game literacy as people who play like all kinds of games?
I doubt it. I mean, I bet it's deeper, and it might be an extension of your love of the sport, and it might be just the grind you decided to get on.
Yeah.
Because they've incorporated a lot of the Destiny stuff into.
Oh, they have.
Oh, yeah, they make billions of dollars from like Ultimate Teams and Junior Daily Quests.
Okay,
and
this I did not know. I don't really like sports in the human world.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think the only sports games I played that I liked, Tony Hawk and SSX Tricky, snowboarding, super fun. Like those two games were like it for me.
You're throwing some like, not deep cuts, but you're throwing some like medium cuts at me that like is telling you have a substantial gaming history.
I do. I totally do.
And just because it doesn't fit Jason, I can win a tournament.
Right.
Or I stream as my network is found through video game. Mm-hmm. I just question it. I mean, you're whatever you want to be. I don't like the term gamer, period. It's a hobby to it, just like biker or whatever.
Oh,
or,
sure.
Or filmmaker or whatever. It's like...
But you are a filmmaker.
I try to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I was better at it, but...
Well, you know, when you think about... like,
I decided to get off my butt and do it, so I guess I am.
Yeah.
It's not like being a doctor where you have to get certified or whatever.
Oh, yeah. But you know, the word artist, for example.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have a hard time accepting that the word artist fits them, right? Like,
or fits other people.
Yes. You are an artist.
Thank you.
Right?
You are as well.
Yes. The films that you make, you're writing scripts, you're telling stories, you're an artist.
Yeah.
And I'm an artist. It's really hard for me to accept that, so a separate episode, fake artist.
Yeah, for sure.
But, you know, it's hard for me to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's something about, you know, when you hear these words, you think about the word in the dictionary and who is emblematic of that word in the dictionary, right? Like, so if I think of artist, I think of like, I don't know, Basquiat or Leonardo da Vinci or...
And I think some people can get in the gaming thing, like whether it be the console or I'm guilty of every single gamer crime. Every single one. The ones that would probably make us not be friends anymore. But
wait, what does that
mean? being the gamer. Being the bad gamer.
Yeah.
But like the console warriorship or whatever it is now, or calling people fake gamers because they play mobile games. Like I've been guilty of all of it, and thankfully I just somehow, without trying, I got a life. And then now it's all silly. And I wish I would have embraced more things, because really what I was desperate for was a community, whether it be a game or anything else. So.
Yeah. No, that's hard, because mobile games are certainly still games.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I feel bad when they take advantage of people, or it's all like ads and crap full of junk.
Oh my God, yes. A game shouldn't have like a good game that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have an ad in it.
Yeah. So, you feel like you've earned the gamer title. You don't claim it really. Do you see others or hear from others that make you say like, fake gamer? Like what?
Well,
what screams fake gamer to you?
I try
even if you don't call that.
Yeah. I try not to have that mentality, only because I feel like I have been on the receiving end of it. Games, first of all, people see me, they see a black person probably first. Then they see a woman. But as a woman and as a black person, there's a certain amount of realities where you can see that games weren't necessarily made for you.
For sure, yeah.
And so when I see something like Spiritfarer, which stars a black girl, it's like, wow, okay, so one, she's a black girl. Two, you can't change it, right? Yeah. It's one thing if you're playing like Cyberpunk or whatever, where you can make your own character. That is actually cool, because it's allowing for all these different kinds of expression.
Yeah.
But when they force you to be a certain thing, like for example, Alex in Life is Strange: True Colors, she is an Asian woman, and you can't change that.
Yeah.
What that does is that gives people who look like her a platform and sort of like a place to feel comfortable and a place to feel like the game was created with them in mind, and like the game sees them. And so there aren't very many games where the main characters are black women. I can't think of very many at all. But I mean, that's kind of what I would say about that. But as far as like, do I see people or do I think of like, do I see some activity or some behavior and think, oh, fake gamer?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, because I am still like wrestling with that myself. I feel like I've earned it partly because I beat The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which was a very hard game, and I definitely didn't complete it. I'm not a completionist because fuck that. Like every single side quest, no, it's an enormous.
Like,
but for me,
maybe if it gets your name.
For me, it was about being free.
Yeah.
Like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And for me, literally, I spent half of that game hunting. I spent half of it riding horses, hunting, climbing mountains and trees, and avoiding enemies, and running. I don't engage with most of them.
Yeah.
And I just like to get all my outfits.
Yeah.
I like to do all my biome stuff. I like to, get a bunch of arrows and be strategic about my puzzles. Like for me, it's a build your own thing. It's a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, you still have to if you want to be Ganon, you got to do certain things.
I mean, this game is not that, but in GTA 5 and some of the Fallouts, I get a little bit of that. Like, how far can I push the game before it completely breaks?
Yeah.
And that's fun.
Yeah.
Like, taking the path less traveled is fun sometimes.
For sure.
But again, I won't hop in a crafting game because I need some forward momentum to pull me forward.
Oh,
aside from
for
survival.
sure. GTA, yeah. I didn't.
Not to diminish anyone else's experience.
Yeah. GTA is always kind of like, I'm doing a thing and let's get So
GTA 4 and 5, they got to a point where they could at least sort of simulate a real world, if not ours. I had some of your Breath of the Wild experience, just differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And feeling free and that's what games are. For me, the RPGs are the best to me because I like to be in new places and explore and do things that are different and just like puzzles. Like I do like to be out in the world, and that's why I like to play Minecraft with no monsters.
Yeah.
Because to me, what I love about it is I start from nothing, I build my amazing world, but I don't want a creeper, I don't want an enderman, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Those things give me anxiety that I don't need.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I get it. So, you still don't claim the name gamer easily. You don't typically look at someone and say, it's fake.
Yes, right.
I see posturing of all types, and sometimes it doesn't even exist, and maybe that's insecurity on my own.
Okay.
But people that outwardly wear, like, too much or forcing, like, the gamer look, like a lot of our competitor advertisements, they're forcing that gamer look, and it just feels so inauthentic and cringe.
Yeah.
Or, like, I'll go on Twitch's homepage, and I'll mostly look at non-males because I'm a male.
Yeah.
And I'll see the ones that are forcing it, and it makes me cringe, but would I look if it, like, the attention grabbing worked, but now I'm here and it's like, this is an inch deep.
Oh, sure.
So when you told me showed me you had your Legend of Zelda tattoo, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
It fits you. But my first thing is, like, you didn't need to do that. And maybe that's me against tattoos as it is, but it's like...
Oh, sure.
And I'm very, like, utilitarian. Like, if I don't need to do it, I don't want to do it.
Oh, okay.
So tell me the thought process as we wrap this up. Like, why, what, when?
Yeah.
Tell me about the tattoo.
So, I am not really a tattoo person, meaning I don't like the feeling. A lot of people, like, when I played Breath of the Wild, it changed I don't know if it changed my life or if it just changed my worldview, because here I am, solving puzzles, exploring, getting really good at it, and feeling empowered as a woman, just kind of like, spending my whole life thinking I'm not a gamer, right? Then I play this game that is requiring logic and critical thinking, and you're solving puzzles and you're exploring and you're left to your own devices, and that feeling felt so good. And so I got the tattoo before I beat the game, but it was even more meaningful once I beat it. To me, I got the tattoo because it was the experience of playing it, but also there's a character in the game called Pasha.
Oh yes.
So if you go to like the Gerudo village, there's a woman, a Gerudo, and her name is Pasha. And for me, I was just like, what? Okay, that means that it is my birthright and my legacy to be a part of that game. And so that's
cool.
why I got the tattoo, is because, and it is a specific flower. It is a warm Saphlina flower which grows in the Gerudo region. And so that's why I got it.
The story means more to me than like you
and
just
that's
showing
why
a tattoo.
it's like
It's deep, not just because it's in your skin.
exactly.
Yeah.
I could have gotten a Triforce.
Yeah.
Right? Well, the Triforce signals to everyone, hey, you know, I know, we see.
Look at this thing I know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look at this thing I know. But this is like, oh, wow, that's a pretty tattoo.
Okay.
But yeah, that's why I have it, and it's meaningful to me, and people ask me about it, and I proudly say, oh, it's from the Breath of the Wild. And they're like, and either you know or you don't.
And by telling that story with, of course, the passion you do, it's opening people's minds up to what gamers are, which makes you the best advocate for being a gamer you have. So, I will wrap this up. Thank you so much for this intensive look into why you believe you're a fake gamer and why that's not true, whatever.
And thank you for sharing from your side too, because when you were talking about posturing, I think that's really interesting.
So anyway, thank you so much for this discussion. If this comes out,
I hope so.
This will be a series of conversations about labels that fit, labels that don't. I don't think there's going to be real answers here, and I think your questions about posturing, I think we're going to get way into that and some of our other topics.
I'm excited to dive in, and I am very severely diagnosed with imposter syndrome. I mean, it's not a diagnosis; it's a self-diagnosis.
You're not a doctor; you can't do that. It's not a fake doctor.
I'm a fake doctor. So I'm sure we will never. I mean, we'll never run out of things to talk about, because I feel like I'm fake at everything. So
we got a sizable list here. So.
Yes.
More to come. Thank you if you've listened this far. Thank you, Mom, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.